Okay, welcome. Hello. It's time for Blocktalk. We're on Bitcoin block 421-475. Yep, that little minute hand's ticking away. Soon it'll be 2020 and be at another halving event. But I imagine the effects of the halving are still to come. Uh, it'll be pretty crazy times. So yeah, we got a good show going today, talking with some cool people. But first, we got to talk about our sponsor. So we have Jumpbucks. Jumpbucks offers a Decred stake pool, and Decred's a new hybrid currency, work proof of stake. And excuse me, there's a thunder in the background. uh, Jumpbucks is or Decred's a hybrid, proof of stake. So you actually will earn more the more your pool is online. So Jumpbucks is basically offered a 100% uptime stake pool. So you can use a multi-sig account, and you can then stake with Jumpbucks, and they'll kind of do all the voting and basically maximize your profits, and you'll get even payouts in Jumpbucks. So yeah, check it out today. It's definitely a good service. And, join the Jumpbucks Slack if you guys have any questions, or if you want to, suggest topics for future shows, because there's a Blocktalk channel in there, and that's where, we all kind of hang out and discuss what we like to hear about. And yeah, I got the YouTube chat going here, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. So without further ado, let's get on with the main event. So yeah, we had a nice chat with the LBRY team the other day, but I really wanted to talk to Mr. Dewey Decimal himself, Jack Robinson.
Lou, what do you want to ask?
Well, first off, it looks like you have a lot of fans. I mean,
I do.
Like
it's hot.
literal fans. Geez, yeah. So, yeah, it was a great show the other day, and you guys have definitely got a cool team going. I guess first off, I kind of want to discuss. We were kind of talking about analogies for the LBRY coin structure and cosine and everything. And I was thinking a bit more like, well, we were saying like real estate was a really good example, but like you're never forced to sell with real estate.
Well, it'd be like a Georgist theory of real estate, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of the analogy I wanted to make was think of like a shopping mall, and like every employee that works there has a vote of what the food court has in it. So if every employee is like, oh yeah, I don't want, the Tofu Palace kind of sucks. We need an Arby's in here, or so they can all, choose to they can choose to have their McDonald's or whatever. And if one employer, wants a Tofu Palace, well, they can pay for more employees, and then I don't know, maybe I'm over making it complex, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. Well, and the real estate model is pretty funny too, because there's a farm, the big city down the road here. There's a farm, and on the three corners of it, there's like a Walmart, there's an outlet shopping mall, and a subdivision, and then there's this farm. And the guy wants like $10 million before he sells it, and it's probably only worth like 2. So,
someone buys it, then it's worth 10.
Yeah. Exactly it. It's worth more to him than he's committed more of his credits, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess first off to start here, with my list of questions. So let's talk about the mining, because we just kind of touched on it, briefly, where you guys kind of had this ramp up of of credit. Like it's kind of like you had your initial phase, and everyone can kind of learn about LBRY and get in, and now the payouts are actually increasing.
And will be for another month and a half, 2 months, something like that. So yeah, that was deliberately for that purpose, so that we could start it out, and it's okay if everybody doesn't know about it on day one, because the reward is only 1, and but at starting at block 5,000, which was a little bit over a week, 2 weeks ago now. Yeah, was it 2 weeks ago? Might have been a little bit longer than that. That's when it started climbing up, and it goes up by 1 per 100 blocks, and it continues to do that until block 50,000. So we reach peak reward at 500 credits per block, and that's going to be in about 2 months. So, and then from there on, we have a smooth step function down rather than halving events. So reward doesn't get cut in half all the time. you know.
Okay, so it's very dynamic. And what about difficulty? Like, is that adjusting every block?
Difficulty is DigiShield, and so yeah, that's being redone every block. And we've been able, I think that our longest block that we've had at this point was like 30 minutes, and it was yesterday. And
That was a scary moment for a little bit.
it was, we were paying attention.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. That's our other guest today. We have Joe, and I'm very sorry. I mispronounced that the other day.
It happens constantly. So.
Yeah.
Well, actually, my last name doesn't have an N in the middle.
Oh, so it's just Robison?
Robison.
Robison. Okay.
Yeah.
My mistake. I'll correct that as soon as I can.
Very common. So.
All right. Well. Oh yeah. So block times. What is the average block time supposed to be?
2.5 minutes.
Okay. And that's kind of, I guess, the. Why did you go with 2.5 minutes? Why maybe not crank it down a little lower?
Jimmy actually chose that time, and I know that he didn't want to go too much lower than that. He had concerns on a lower bound, but we also wanted it to not be, a full length. So, we want block time to be fast enough that you can get one confirmation in a fairly short amount of time. So, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was just looking up for blenders. So you guys are staying on proof of stake though, or proof of work.
Proof of work.
Yeah. Is there any reason that you guys feel that you want to stay proof of work for the entirety?
None of us, well, I guess I can't speak for everybody, but I have not been sold on proof of stake. It interests me, but I think that proof of work has, it has the big example going for it, and has been out in the wild for years and has been demonstrated to work. So.
Yeah, part of me feels like you only get so many innovations that you get to try at once, and so I don't know. Let's, we're not trying to innovate on this part of it, so let's stick with what's been working.
Yeah, like proof of stake definitely has some innovations going for it, but with innovations you have risk, and why not stick with what works? And I'll quote one of the guys from Decontrol, those guys in the basement that are, always so knowledgeable with their questions. Proof of work is what gives you immutability. Proof of stake doesn't have immutability. So if you guys are trying to create a decentralized library, you want this content where nobody can prevent any one commitment from getting out. You need proof of work. So I think in the future, if you guys are looking at even considering proof of stake, you maybe want to go for a hybrid or something.
Well, we intend to keep the blockchain real and
keep it real, yeah.
Not the avoid forking.
Oh yeah. Speaking of forks, we got that whole Ethereum thing going on. Which I could ask your opinion, and maybe that's why I don't have Jeremy on the show today, is because he's not shy about giving his opinion. But
kind of defeats the purpose of having a distributed ledger, when you just reset it.
Yeah. I guess it all depends.
Why do we?
It all depends on how badly you fuck up, I guess.
Well, it's like if you put that level of trust in them, then you have that level of trust in them, and you can just be straightforward about that and let them just use SQL.
Yeah. Well, it appears that 50% of Ethereum holders felt they got fucked over, so they probably want to revert back. But it's kind of an interesting scenario. Like if that could happen with if that could have been done with Mt. Gox, like if it was caught early enough, would they have done it too? So that represented, I think, a large percentage of the holdings too.
Mt. Gox is going on also for a really long time.
Yeah.
They were leaking and leaking. And,
well, and that's the thing. It's all about publicity. But anyways, I knocked Jeremy for his opinions, but I think they're very well structured, and he's definitely got. I should do a separate show just with Jeremy. We'll call it like Cops Corner or something, you know. And the only stipulation I have is that he has to wear a ridiculous turtleneck every show.
Yeah.
And then if anyone's seen Coach's Corner, it's like a little segment they have during the hockey in Canada here. And there's Don Cherry, who wears this crazy little tuxedos. Yeah, we should definitely do a parody of that, but call it Cops Corner. Anyways, Jeremy, get a hold of me. We'll do it up. It'll be fun. But still talking about Ethereum, let's going back to the mining. I had my mining guy just kind of run some numbers here quickly, and it's like looks like one average GPU generates roughly 3.5 libraries per day. Local cost is still best to GPU mine, but dropping hard. On the first day, it was about 6 times about profitability of mining Ether. Now it's about 1.8. Well, and that's the thing. You guys are kind of your price is settling down a bit after the whole Poloniex ad, but it's probably not because people are dumping. It's because you guys are trying to establish what is your price floor, what is the cost of production, right?
It's a situation where there's a limited supply, where not very many have been mined yet, so circulation is low, and there's a lot of people who are really interested and are trying to mine it as hard as they can, and I think that sets a high lower bound. I won't say that that's a permanent thing because we're in a period of accelerating growth, with the supply of coins. So people should keep that in mind. But I don't know, just like the sheer amount of mining power that's been turned on to LBRY is something in and of itself that's a encouraging sign of interest for sure. So.
Yeah, and I think it's been growing since Friday, just because the price and everything.
Yeah, I was actually on that note. I was surprised I didn't see the hash rate drop off a bunch when we've been up and down.
Well, and if people are getting paid more, then that's going to incentivize mining, which is probably good. Your network is very well incentivized, but yeah, at the high rate of inflation, you're kind of in a distribution phase. It might not be for anyone, like looking at the charts. It might be really hard to motivate yourself to buy right now, but there's definitely potential. You guys should be checking this chart every day, sort of thing. And you know what? Maybe Finer can ping me here on what the current hash rate is, because I'm definitely interested to know.
I can actually pull it up.
Yeah, and while you're
1.2.
1.2. Okay.
Well, about
coming
1.2.
Leave it to the guy in charge of infrastructure to know the hash rate just like that.
Yeah, we have a blockchain explorer, explorer.libry.io. So.
Okay. Now for infrastructure, like what exactly are you guys kind of rolling out for hardware? Is there something that are you guys because you are planning on hosting video and stuff? Are you looking at doing some sort of server?
So we've got a couple. Well, part of it being a peer-to-peer, data marketplace is that we shouldn't really have to actually run too many host nodes. The host nodes that we run are more like a peer of last resort, just in that someone will be online with the content, but with the stuff that people are downloading and watching, that there's enough people who have copies of those now that we don't have any reason that the hosts for It's a Disaster and the Keynes Hayek video are on many computers at this point. So yeah, we don't have to do too much hosting. And then aside from that, we have some full nodes on the blockchain network that we have that are that are seeds. Yeah, there's what else? We have our Electrum servers. Librarium is the fork. That's the majority of the stuff on the network for infrastructure.
As we start to add content partners, we're going to offer initial hosting, just to help make sure that it gets out to the network and people pick it up before it becomes popular. So I think most of that's just going to be sort of like AWS S3 kind of infrastructure.
Okay, and is that what your role is, Joe, with the library? Is kind of coordinating those servers?
Um, Grin also takes care of a decent chunk of that. I've been largely responsible, I think, for kind of making sure that our build process is automated and clean and kind of as seamless as possible. And then I'm going to start working on. Yes, we think that there's sort of a lot of data that can be gathered about, how popular certain pieces of content are and like what might be like the most optimal things for hosts to have or like recommendation systems for content. So we're kind of start trying to look at what kind of infrastructure we need to put in place to gather that data. This is a pretty big question right now, what that is all going to involve. So we'll see.
There's going to be a bunch of parts of this also that are going to be open to the community to improve upon because, what's the analogy here? If somebody goes into a marketplace and they want to be profitable, you can give them general rules that work, but some people might have a much better way of doing it. Some people might have a much worse way of doing it, and that kind of asymmetry and the ability to profit off of catching on to something that somebody else didn't, that's very much in like the decision process of what to host. So, this is like, how do you figure out what a piece of data is worth, what you're going to charge for it? We have like out-of-the-box ways to do that, but those types of problems, I think, are going to be really neat to hand off to the users and to say, can you think of a better way to price this or that? Because if you can, and you can do more business doing that, then by all means. We want to erase in the profits towards zero until the point where things are being provided at cost. So.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the model I think any blockchain company needs to be. So how is this marketplace all being handled? Like, is it kind of done in smart contracts, or is it baked into the protocol in some other way?
So, micropayments are going to be a big part of this. We don't have a Lightning network at this point, but at the moment the marketplace is it's a lot like BitTorrent. It's a DHT to track pieces of files, and all the transactions are broadcast on the blockchain. So until we have micropayments, that has some limitations. But yeah, it's a big DHT where you're paying for the stuff that you're requesting. And when somebody asks you for a piece of data, the first thing you reply back with is, "This is how much I want for it."
Okay, but what about like the whole Cosine marketplace, like the name committing and everything? Is that kind of done with smart contracts, or again is it protocol?
That is more analogous. I mean, it's not really a smart contract, but it's a special type of transaction. So yeah, we have multiple marketplaces here. We have a data marketplace, which is where fragments of content are being exchanged, and then we have this like namespace where people are reserving domain names to then point to content in that data marketplace. And so the name transactions are it's not like it has any special triggers or anything like this. All it is basically I'm going to associate a chunk of metadata, which is just like a JSON chunk, and I'm going to associate that to a wallet address and a name. Is essentially what it comes down to. And so it's that while this wallet address has the highest balance associated to this name, then it's the dominant claim. So it's not proof of burn or anything like that. It's like proof of deferral. So the coins are still in one of your wallets, but in a publicly specified one. So.
Okay, so this name marketplace and maybe even the data marketplace, it's kind of these are services you're building that reference to your blockchain, like so someone else can maybe come along and just build something else that uses the library chain.
Well, I mean, like namespace in a lot of different ways that have nothing to do with our data protocol, even that you could use it to provide names to magnet links and make magnet links, memorize. It makes it so you can memorize them. You could use it for OpenBazaar store IDs. Really anything that you want to map a name to a value. So.
Okay, well, I guess my question really is, like, what's to stop, because I looked around a little bit, and I haven't really found any Bitcoin projects doing this, per se, unless you maybe know of one of your competitors. But, like, what's to stop someone from just, building the same sort of, application layer on top of Bitcoin, and, like, oh, if I commit these coins, and if they ever move, then I, drop the commitment and stuff like that.
Well, so Bitcoin doesn't support. So the name tree itself is it's a special binary tree structure on its own that is not in Bitcoin whatsoever. Aside from the make claim, support claim, abandon claim opcodes that are also not in Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean. We actually have like a whole essay about why not do this on top of Bitcoin, and there's like, because it would be a pain in the ass, because we would be providing a ton of transactions that the Bitcoin users would get really mad at. Like if they don't like Satoshi dice, how much are they going to like it when people are paying for every 2 megabytes, And so for reasons, it's on the website.
Okay, well. What about like Ethereum? This sounds like a really good application for them too, like to build LBRY on top of them and have smart contracts run this all. So now this is more of a dApp than like a application layer.
We didn't. So yeah, we don't actually have an essay about that one. I started to write one, but it was because at the moment Ethereum was gaining more popularity when the question first came up, and at first it was, why don't do this on top of Bitcoin? So we explained why. Then a month later, why don't do this on top of Ethereum? And for not entirely dissimilar reasons, but I think very broadly that say that a generalized system will underperform a system that is specialized for a purpose. And so going on that assumption, I think that you can make some statements about when you're on a generalized system and I'm doing something that's on the margin easier than the thing that you're wanting to use it for, that I can extract kind of rent out of you because we're going off of this price that's in between our costs. And yeah, so I don't like generalized in that way.
Yeah, well, like that's what I view Ethereum as. It is a pay-per-use blockchain, and you know what? If you think you can build your application and have the proper support, maybe the incentive structure right, then there's no reason to use Ethereum when you can do it on your own. But maybe now, even with this fork, if enough miners support the old code, and then that can be the lawless Ethereum, and that's where all the apps that will never get forked off run. Like. Doesn't matter how bad anyone fucks up or how much a contract gets, like no matter what, it never forks.
Keep forking.
No, but that's interesting. I'll have to take a good look at that article.
Well, because I'd just like to maybe describe it a bit better. That so let's say that we have a generalized system that people are using and they're getting a lot of really productive use out of it, right? And some of those people, their uses might be on the margin more expensive than other people's uses for it. And that what that's going to mean is that the people who are having a on the margin lower cost use are going to be essentially receiving a subsidy from those who don't and are going to be paying more. I should actually write this out. Maybe I'll make an essay about this and put it on the website. I tend to write these things better than I speak them.
Well, you got a lot of programming to do now, but I just pulled up the article here, so maybe even just
there you go.
Briefly summarize. You have the no partial.
It comes down to it's not good for either of us.
Okay. Well, yeah, and I think that's why, a lot of Bitcoiners are frustrated. Like, you have all these great applications, like, oh man, this is going to be Bitcoin's killer app. It's like, but we just need a hard fork for bigger blocks, or we need segregated witness, or we need this, and nobody can, come to terms on it because the miners are like, I don't know, that kind of
segregated witness is happening.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think it's just like for bigger blocks and everything. It's just like a lot of guys who run full nodes or mining farms are like, it kind of cuts into my bottom line. Why do I want to support this? So
Hmm.
like they see potential value, but then they also see initial drawbacks. Um, yeah, it's interesting. I like your thoughts though on it. That's definitely good. Job, anything to add?
Not much. Just that there's actually 2 articles on why LBRY doesn't use Bitcoin. So
Oh,
I shared another one in the group chat.
okay, cool. I'll send it out to the YouTube chat, and then I'll make sure those 2 links get into the YouTube description down below.
Yeah, and I guess the only other thing is just in some ways I think what LBRY is doing, like, I mean, there are, I guess, like novel things with like the naming scheme, but in some ways there is a lot of value in just making something much more user friendly. And so, like, I don't know, even if it would potentially be possible to like build it on top of Ethereum or like Bitcoin, one of our goals is just to like make something super user friendly. So I don't know. There might be other competitors out there that can try and do it, but hopefully we'll be.
It's like it's a theme I've heard though about like why is it that people don't use like encryption for everything? Is it because they're just too stupid and they don't understand it? It's like, no, it's not. It's because engineers make tools that are for engineers, and then people don't know how to use them. And if you want everyone to be using encrypted everything, you should make it so they don't even know that they're doing it. It's just a fact, an implicit fact of whatever it is that they're doing.
Well, and I think that's why like Steam has become so successful. It's because nobody really realizes that they're even using a blockchain, or the whole system just kind of operates the same as Reddit, but now all of a sudden there's money involved in economics, and people can build their own apps in the background, and it improves everything, and it's all done by in the same open source kind of area. But yeah, no, it's I think Steemit is a really good example we've seen in 2016 of like how you should be doing these blockchain applications and trying to get the public outreach on it. So yeah, I eventually see like LBRY is going to get there too. You guys are getting your clients kind of spruced up and ready, and going to see it. I think you guys are saying you might have a publishing tool ready to demo, if not today, sometime this week. I'm putting you on the spot now.
I don't have it. Alex has it. Let's see if we can
geez.
get him.
Yeah. Alex has the link if you want to jump in here. But maybe I'll go to my next questions here.
We are releasing that very soon though. It's just being wrapped up over the weekend.
When it's ready. I don't think we're willing to commit to timelines during a beta release like this. So
soon.
Yeah. Soon, TM, yeah.
TM, yeah.
Yeah, that's the running joke in the space. The other one is, your project has gone mainstream in crypto, and when there's a Doge clone of it, so we're waiting for Dogeberry. soon enough. So with regards to infrastructure, I guess, and also mining in general, you guys you have this new algorithm that isn't really supported by any ASIC. So just like Ethereum, there's a lot of incentive, I guess, to mine right now, because right now you can't even get rental rigs for it. Like if I wanted to mine it, I have to use my own PC. And that kind of puts it out of out of reach for a lot of general people. But do you guys see maybe ASICs in your near future if things keep being profitable? Like I know Ethereum kind of squashed it right away. And we're going proof of stake at some point, so there's no reason to make an ASIC.
I think that would be a whole other level of interest in miners that would be phenomenal to see, but is probably not going to happen in the immediate future. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason why it can't be ASIC'd, but I mean, it's like a substantial investment to do that, and so I don't think that there's going to be any chip runs anytime, in the immediate future. I mean, as it is actually, well, but we have some GPU miners that are already out. That was like a really remarkable thing. Like right after being launched, we got a couple of people at our Slack. We got some like well-known GPU programmers who like got on it, were very interested, and they did it much faster than we thought it was going to happen. We had this whole plan about how we don't have to worry about a GPU miner coming out for weeks. So, nope. It's people who are just not going to sleep until they have a GPU miner.
Well, it seems like there's a lot of really talented guys who understand, how hashing works, that, spend their time, just babysitting all their GPU farms. And sometimes, they come across a cool project like yours, like, man, I should write the GPU miner for this and get a drop on everyone. And what, soon, and like right now, there's Decred and Ethereum are both really profitable CPU mines or GPU mines. And somebody wrote a miner where you can actually mine both of them and get 20% more than mining them individually. So
I was reading about that.
I wouldn't be surprised if like that gets modified, and now you can mine LBRY at the same time, and like you're gonna start seeing even more profitable, like maybe another 35 or 50%. Like it'd be really interesting to see how like these GPU farms start handling multiple chains and multiple work algorithms and everything. But so there's nothing in the hardware or like for the hardware requirements that limits it. Like I was talking to the Vericoin devs, and they're doing a proof of work chain right now, and they're saying it's ASIC resistance because of like how much memory it needs. But
we're not using a memory hard. No, we're a while back. We in the alpha blockchain. We were looking at script, but the final proof of work algorithm is SHA with RIPE-MD. But it's just the combination of them, is not available on any hardware. But not available on hardware yet.
Oh no, it's good because when I hear that someone's making their proof of work algo intentionally inefficient to prevent ASICs, I'm like, that seems counterproductive.
It's futile. And it's also something that to me at least, I feel like getting to the point of there's dedicated hardware being made for this. That's a really good thing,
That's infrastructure, yeah.
Yeah. And so I feel like trying to stave off the inevitable, and when that inevitable is actually like a signal of success that it'll happen if it'll happen. So.
Well, if it's anything like the the GPU miner code getting out, then it's probably going to catch you guys off guard sooner than you think.
Yeah,
but
we're just going to discover that Texas Instruments is making a production run.
Hey, you never know. Yeah, like I hear ARM has kind of been acquired now too. Maybe
Yeah, I read that.
The 22 nanometer guys are going to be on this soon. But yeah. I'm wondering if what's the other thing? FPGAs, like those kind of field programmable something or other, where you
Gate
can.
Array.
Yeah. So I imagine like that's already being used on Decred. So I'm wondering if the application for those will work on your chain. Maybe that's where some of the jump in hash rate's coming from.
I actually think that. I don't know if maybe I'm just misremembering. Maybe I'm misremembering if we just talked about FPGAs or if there was a guy in Slack that was looking at that. I'm not sure which, but yeah. I mean, FPGAs in the progression of things, that happens first, and then you take your FPGA and make an ASIC out of it. So.
Yeah. Well, again, it's just infrastructure or like ASICs is one thing, but just having these mining guys interested, like that says a lot too. So I don't know. Josh was saying in the last show that like, oh yeah, I heard these guys were talking about us, and I decided to kind of help them and work with them rather than squash them or anything like that. And that's pretty good. You guys want to be working with the community, you want to be outreaching to these people. But yeah, no, it's proof of work. Well, again, it kind of sets your core value. The more people you have mining, the more your token's going to be worth. It's kind of that's the basic fundamentals. Job, you got any thoughts?
I guess mostly just as a dev team, I think we've been more focused on making our app like usable than we have been worrying about sort of like what the mining community has been up to. I guess Josh has been our main point person on that. Like I honestly can't answer any of your questions about like what's going to happen with ASICs. So.
You mean you guys are telling me you're not running a pump and dump? What the hell? That's what I'm trying to have on the shows.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that blender again.
Both of you guys are muted.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want anyone to hear that blender
Oh,
for the
blender.
fourth time. Yeah, sorry. Let's see here. So scaling. Let's talk about the size of the blockchain right now, and like how you guys kind of see it growing with usage and what kind of usage grows. Because now you're saying you have data too, but that's kind of separate from the blockchain, or maybe that even
Yeah, that
adds to
doesn't.
the scaling.
No, all of the data that's being bought and sold is all not on the blockchain. It's all it is the metadata for the name claim. So that's like the what the equivalence of a magnet link is to download the actual file, the name, title, description, those types of things. The fields that you use to like build search results. And we have 2 MB blocks. So 2.5 minute block time, 2 MB blocks. You can figure it out. It's not too bad. We're at like 20. How many? I think we're only like 20 or 22 megabytes or something so far.
Yeah, but nobody's really utilizing the chain right now, right? Like it's just minor transactions, right?
No,
There's some content.
yeah, there's a couple of people who have been starting to put up a bunch of public domain books, and so there's those name claims, there's the transactions to download them, and
The transactions to get the data also go on there. I mean, the data itself is not on the chain, but the transactions involved in downloading the data
right.
are on there. So.
And as for scaling, they will not always be on there. That we're looking at how to best approach microtransactions to make it so that all those data transactions can be off chain. So.
Okay. Let's see here. What else have I got? So we kind of talked briefly before the show, or maybe we even talked during the start of the show about proof of stake. Maybe I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic here. You guys are no plans to change the mining algorithms or anything like that. You feel that what you have is working really well, and it's going to be sticking around for a while, long term.
That's the plan.
Oh yeah, what's the ceiling for the amount of library coins that will ever be in existence?
Billion, I think.
1,080,000,000. It's not an even billion.
Okay.
It's like billion and 80 million or 20 million. Yeah, it's 1.0.
Just like there's not a perfect 21 million bitcoins that will be created. Yeah. Okay.
Get a bribe. Oh well.
About a billion.
Roughly. You guys sound like a VC venture firm. Like, yeah, we got about a billion, roughly. When you round up. Let's see here. So I was kind of just briefly asking you guys after the last show about some other interesting applications for this. Because like we joked on the last show about what's it called? This place is loud. We were talking about my pig farm camera, and we're gonna have Josh Feiner, the library tag, point to like a webcam, a live feed of my pig farm. Well, like I already have cameras set up for our dairy barn, and one of the issues I'm having is with static IPs, and I can't get a static IP with the internet provider that I have. So I was curious if like, could you set it up that I have a script that always pushes my IP out to a library address, and that's kind of like the meeting point of these cameras.
You could have a constant identifier on the network, and so long as you're connected to the network, you look up that identifier, figure out which IP it is. In the same way that on like BitTorrent, in BitTorrent like the IDs are random, but if you like had a node's ID, you could use that for the same purpose.
Okay. Well, no, like I'm just kind of thinking of how that would be done. I don't think I have the skill set to do it. So you know what? Live on the show here, I'm gonna commit. You guys can be the escrow if you really want. I'll put up 1 Bitcoin, whatever it's gonna be worth, and by the time this is done, for anyone who can, help me get this going, I want, a script that will automatically push my my dynamic IP to a library address, and then that way, I can always go to that and have my camera feed of I go to Josh Feiner on library and I see my pigs and see how they're doing.
LBRY // Finder. I will provide the credits and you provide the camera.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, so let's get that bounty going, and yeah, I'm sure someone talented, maybe even one of these minor guys who's hanging out and like, what GPU am I gonna write now? It's like,
It's a great example for live streams too. So
yeah,
we gotta work on that. That's gonna be something that we have to do. Right? Is live streams. Because Jimmy had live streams working on the Alpha blockchain, but we haven't been experimenting with them for a little while. We've been sticking with files, but we can do live streams. So.
Oh, live streams. Yeah, I forgot. That's kind of the thing we're doing right now. Might be a good application for me too. But yeah, I think there's a lot of utility of what you can do with like an address book on your blockchain. What else? Oh yeah, when I was driving home, I was thinking, what if okay, so we're in your Slack, I was kind of talking, like people were saying like, oh yeah, library is the next YouTube, and I'm thinking about it more. I'm like, sounds like you guys are like more, you're the next Google. Like you're gonna be like the discovery engine for new content, and that includes YouTube, and maybe that includes but like. Okay, so let's look at something like Google Maps. It's like, do you guys see, like, okay, so, Dundas Street, and all the addresses that are attached to that, like, these could be, like, mailing addresses or something. Like, do you guys kind of see, like, more applications of that, or am I thinking way outside of your box now?
No. I mean, I think that the end vision is one where a library is a piece of internet infrastructure that people are using to access the stuff that they want, and they're getting it better than they were before, and that's why they're using it. But that they're not worrying about any of the magic underneath, and that they don't know how the video gets there on YouTube. Maybe it's library. So that's
okay. Well, what was the other thing? Oh, no, I'm just skipping my mind again. What's the other thing? Oh, jeez. But yeah, it was funny the joke that Mike had on the first show that we did way back in January. It's like, oh, you push the button and the movie plays. That's as simple as you can explain library. People don't need to know that it's better, but if it runs better than YouTube, you know what? They can be sold on that pretty easily. And right now, yeah.
The incentives for content to be organized in a meaningful way, and for content creators to receive payment, and for people to provide content to each other to the to the point of efficiency. And I think that that's a better content delivery system. So.
Yeah, and I think maybe drawing more analogies with Steemit. Like Steemit, I find is a really organic way of finding content. But the thing is, it's super inefficient. Like people are reposting stuff, and I'm already getting chewed out for reposting an article because 3 other people reposted it, and no part of it sounds efficient to me. But it's definitely an interesting structure. But you guys are kind of doing content discovery, but in a much different way, and I think you highlighted that point very well, Jack. Is it's to the peak of efficiency. This is definitely what this is definitely the one end of the spectrum that how you guys can do discovery on a blockchain. How data is hosted and kind of carried and brought along. So yeah, that kind of I think wraps up my questions here. Let's see, you guys want to comment on a Dogecoin of LBRY.
I don't know.
I'll get started on a side project just for the press.
Well, the thing with Doge is though, it's a lot of computer science classrooms. I think use it teachers just okay, everyone here you go, everyone gets 1,000 Doge here. Try and write a cool application with it. And I think that's kind of what Doge is used for now, at least from what I gather from their subreddits.
Doge is where DigiShield comes from, so we do actually have that from them. And Doge does difficulty well. So. Yeah,
and I think their switch to merge mining was really good too, and you know, they're infinitely inflationary. You know, now they're on like 10K Doge blocks, but at the same time, like that means they're never going to go away. And I think nobody, you know, puts real value to their currency. They definitely put value to it, but we're not talking like people are buying houses with Doge. They're maybe sponsoring NASCARs with them, but that's about it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they pick up, you know, and they start doing some development on it for you guys. I don't know. Let's see, maybe I'm just looking at the chat here to see if there's anything else. Lots of people, you know, talking about how to spell your name, Jack. Let's see. I think just people asking about clients. Mostly people are just curious, like, is there a Windows client yet? You know, I think everyone's wanting things to be a little bit, you know, easier. You know, these things come with time. You know, like Ethereum, their network launched, you know, on the command line. So you guys are already kind of ahead of that 8-ball.
Yeah. Priority number one is getting it working for everybody who has it, making it easier to use still, making it more reliable. You know, continue from there.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going to pull up the Coinigy chart here because, you know, it's just a tradition of the show. I know we got your results from last time, but let's get a little more refined prediction market here. But I don't know, while I get that pulled up, you guys have any closing thoughts for everyone? And we'll keep this nice and brief.
I guess mostly just, I don't know, it's been fun interacting with our Slack community over the past 2 weeks since we've launched. There's been a decent number of people who've stepped up to be helpful, kind of answer technical questions, and it's been good to see. And I've seen a decent amount of excitement for people who are kind of waiting to be able to, I don't know, post some of the music that they've created on their own, and that's also just, it's fun to see too.
Cool. Yeah, so I got the chart pulled up here, and yeah, you know what? There's a lot to be excited about in the space right now. And, like, we're kind of starting to see all these 2-year projects that everyone was like fundraising in 2014, and then, you know, everyone went quiet in 2015, and now in 2016 we're starting to actually see what's going on with them. So it's a really interesting year, and, you know, maybe the 2017 will be even crazier. So yeah, let's get your prices here, and then we'll lock the show down, and yeah, I'll distribute it accordingly. So, Jack,
698.
98, okay. And go.
Sorry, what are we doing here?
Yes, just pick a number. Pick any number.
I think you missed this on the last show. You might have dropped out. But
I did, yeah.
What's the Bitcoin price going to be in a week's time?
I mean, expected value is where it's at right now. But
672.
No, I'm gonna drop 30, so 640.
You should get a dartboard that has the current chart on it.
Whoa, no cheating. I'm gonna go right in the middle. I'm just gonna say 672. I think we got a nice coil going here. It's gonna wind up for another week. But yeah, I think you definitely got the idea down, Jack. The point is not to take it too seriously. You know, then people watching the show start betting money on it. Maybe I kind of want that, but not in a form that can be traced back to me. Yeah, it's like we have some sort of crazy futures market going here. But thank you so much for joining us, you know, Jack and Job. And yeah, I look forward to speaking with you guys soon with some more developments. And anyone of you guys have any questions, throw them in the comments below, because I'm sure the library team would be happy to answer them for you. All right.
Cool. Thanks for having us.
For having us.
All right. See you in the next 1,000 bucks.
Cheers.